The dust storms of Kepler 442b never announced themselves with courtesy. They simply arrived, red and furious, swallowing the horizon in minutes. Caleb Rourke had learned to read the signs, the way the binary suns dimmed to copper, how the livestock grew restless in their pens. Today, something else troubled the animals, something worse than weather. He found her at the edge of his property, where the terraformed soil gave way to native rock formations that jutted from the ground like broken teeth. The tree was one of the few earth imports that had survived the harsh conditions, a twisted oak that had no business thriving on this alien world, yet stubbornly refused to die. The girl hung from its lowest branch. Caleb's heart hammered against his ribs as he spurred his hoverbike forward. The anti-grav engine whined in protest, kicking up plumes of rust-colored dirt. She was small, no more than 12 standard years, her dark hair whipping in the wind. Around her neck a crude rope. Pinned to her chest a sign scrawled in angular letters, "White man doesn't forgive." His knife was in his hand before conscious thought. Caleb reached up, supporting her weight as he cut through the rope. She fell into his arms like dead weight, and for one terrible moment he thought he was too late. Then she gasped, a wet, horrible sound, and her eyes flew open. They were black as the void between stars and filled with a fury that made Caleb flinch. "Easy," he murmured, lowering her to the ground. "You're safe now," she struck him. Her small fist connected with his jaw with surprising force, and when he released her in shock, she scrambled backward like a wounded animal. Her breathing came in ragged bursts, hands clawing at the raw burns on her neck. "I'm not going to hurt you," Caleb said, keeping his voice level. He'd gentled enough frightened creatures in his time to know the tone. "My name's Caleb Rourke. This is my land. You're safe here." The girl, she couldn't be anything but Apache, given the traditional tattoos visible beneath the dirt on her arms, stared at him with undisguised hatred. When she finally spoke, her voice was hoarse. "Safe? There is no safe. Not from your kind." The words hit harder than her fist had. Caleb had been on Kepler 442b for 15 years, ever since the colony ships first arrived. He'd watched humanity repeat every mistake from Earth's blood-soaked history. The Apache had been here first, not humans, but close enough. A spacefaring people who'd settled this system generations ago, only to find themselves displaced when humanity came with its treaties and terraforming equipment and unquenchable thirst for expansion. "What happened to you?" he asked. She spat at his feet. "What always happens. Your people came to our settlement, said we harbored raiders. We harbored children and elders. They didn't care." Her hand went to her throat again. "They made examples. I was to be a message, the sign, the tree, the calculated cruelty of it all. Who did this? Does it matter? You're all the same." "No," Caleb said quietly. "We're not." He'd believed that once. Believed humanity was better than its worst impulses, that the frontier of space would forge something new and noble. But Kepler 442b had taught him otherwise. He'd seen the militia raids, the pacification campaigns, the way fear and greed transformed ordinary people into monsters. He'd kept his head down, tended his ranch, told himself he couldn't change anything. Looking at this girl, Tala, he would later learn was her name. He realized his silence had been its own kind of monstrosity. "Come with me," he said, standing slowly. "I have medical supplies, food, whatever you need." "Why?" Suspicion dripped from the word. "So you can sell me back to them? Collect a reward? Because leaving you here would make me no different than the ones who put that rope around your neck." For a long moment, Tala studied him. Then with visible effort, she stood. Her legs shook, but she refused his offered hand. "If you betray me, I'll kill you in your sleep." Fair enough. The ranch house was modest, prefab construction with local stone reinforcement, designed to withstand the planet's violent weather. Caleb led Tala inside, hyper-aware of how she tracked every exit, every potential weapon. He'd rescued animals with that same wariness, that same bone-deep distrust of kindness. He gave her space while treating her wounds. The burns on her neck were severe, the rope having cut deep enough to scar. She endured his ministrations in silence, though he saw her jaw clench with pain. "They'll come looking for you," she said finally, "when they realize I'm gone. They'll burn this place to ash. Let them try." Caleb finished applying the synth skin and sat back. "I didn't survive 15 years on this rock by being easy to kill. Why do you stay?" The question held genuine curiosity. If you hate what they do, why not leave? Caleb looked out the window at the alien landscape bathed in binary sunset, purple and gold bleeding together on the horizon. Because running doesn't fix anything. Someone has to stand and say no more. Might as well be me. One man can't change the world? Maybe not. He met her eyes. But one man can protect one girl. That's a start. Something shifted in Tala's expression. Not trust, not yet, but the possibility of it. They'll call you a traitor. The other ranchers, the militia. You'll be alone. Caleb smiled without humor. I've been alone for 15 years. What's one more? Outside, the wind began to howl. The storm was coming, but for the first time in longer than he could remember, Caleb Rourke didn't face it alone. The young Apache girl sat at his table, eating synthesized rations with the caution of someone who'd forgotten what safety tasted like. And in that moment, Caleb made a choice. Not the easy one, not the safe one, but the human one, the choice that separated humanity's potential from its shame. Tomorrow there would be consequences. The militia would come. There would be violence and fire and blood. But tonight he'd saved one life. Tomorrow he'd save another, and another after that, because that's what humans did when they remembered what they were supposed to be.